Okay, we're good to go.
All right, thank you, Ray. All right, good evening, everyone, again. Would like to call the meeting of the Hammond Redevelopment Commission to order on this Tuesday, June 15th, 2021. It is now 4:32. Our meeting will begin. Can we get a roll call then on tonight's commissioners?
Talmadge,
Yes, here.
Soto Presley, Kasperky,
Here.
Myricks,
Here.
Hopperidge.
Here, for the record, we have 4 present with 1 absent. Okay, number 2 is a declaration of conflict of interest. Okay, number 3, communications.
None were received.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought. Thank you. Number 4 is our minutes dating for May 18th, 2021.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the minutes of Hammond Redevelopment, May 18th, 2021 to be accepted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for our minutes. Sorry about that. For our minutes dating May 18th, 2021. If there's no further question or discussion on the minutes, doesn't seem like there's any corrections either, so let's have a roll call.
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley, Kasperky,
Yes.
Myricks,
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes with 1 absent. Okay, number 5 is an approval of proposal for removal of underground heating oil tank at 740 River Drive.
Members of the commission, as you may remember, you previously approved the demolition of the building located at 740 River Drive that was formerly Unity Church. Upon demolition, the contractor realized that, or he discovered there was an underground storage tank. And that is what is before you today, the proposal to remove it for a total of $8,620.
And why wasn't that included in the original demolition request?
Because I'm presuming at the initial request, they wouldn't have known that I don't believe they would have known there was an underground storage tank there. We've had another situation that something was discovered after that. So I believe there wouldn't have been a way for them to know.
Yeah. Is it going to be EPA compliant when they're done?
Yes, well, they're working with Ron Novak. They have to, and JM Wrecking has done several of our demolitions, so they are working with Ron. He is aware of the situation. So there's some things that he's making sure are done so that they can be complicit.
Yeah, Wally, in the last couple years, a couple of my listings, we had problems with these underground tanks. We didn't know they were there until, they started doing things. So I totally understand that
Was it a tank that the house used to use for heat?
I think, I'm
Probably.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, probably. Because a lot of, like my house used to have a tank, but it was above ground. Some of these properties had underground. And so now, especially when you start to demolish anything, if you find them, they got to go.
And they have to be done properly,
That's why
I get it. You would think that if a place was being heated by that, we would have known, but that's, no, it's gotta go.
Well, in this one, Wally, I would say, I know where you're coming from, but this is the property that was the church.
Correct.
And so they put the church up for sale. And they were trying to sell it. And we kind of swooped in because we felt badly that they were putting it up for sale and whoever was going to buy it, we were thinking that in the next year or two, we would be exercising eminent domain. So it was we didn't want some other church to buy the church, get in there and then have to displace somebody. So we probably didn't do all the due diligence because kind of the series of events that we would have done like in a typical inspection, prior to purchasing something. So that's why in the initial purchase agreement, that wasn't accounted for.
No, I have no problem with being EPA compliant, but if we're just building a bridge over it, but no,
It don't work quite like that.
I get it.
It's just one of those things that's unfortunate, it's just unforeseen and, things under the ground. Sometimes that happens.
Well, if there's no further discussion or questions, Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of the underground heating oil tank at 740 River Drive.
Second,
All right, we have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call then.
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley, Casperky,
yes.
Myricks,
Yes.
Hawkridge.
Yes. Motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, number 6 is approval of resolution 06-2021. A resolution establishing the policy by which members of the Hammond Redevelopment Commission may participate by electronic means of communication.
So we'll call this otherwise known as the Myricks policy, since he asked the question. It essentially says that once the public health emergency ends, which we're all anticipating is going to end on July 1st, that the only way you can appear virtually is by adopting a written policy, and this is your written policy. It's the same policy that every governing body in the city of Hammond is going to adopt. 50% of the people have to be there personally. A member can't appear at more than 50% of the meetings electronically. If you appear electronically and you want your vote to count, it has to be a roll call vote, and you have to be able to be seen and heard. So just dialing in doesn't work. The minutes will reflect, who's present virtually and who's present. But that's basically the sum and substance. It models the statute that was passed in response to the fact, quite frankly, that people were happy with virtual meetings. And prior to the pandemic, you couldn't do them. So this was the Indiana legislators' response to people kind of liking the ability to go virtual from time to time, not all the time.
So if, like you say, Dave, in the near future here, once this ends, if one commissioner or two, no more than two, obviously, if they ever have to exercise this, then would Ray or would we have something set up in the chambers there where obviously we would be able to see them or whatever?
Yeah, I think the city as a, and I'll have to talk to Kevin about it a little bit further, but I think the plan is that all meetings will now be advertised with a virtual component. So there'll have to be some mechanism in the council chambers, which I know there already is because, it goes on Hammond TV. So for the public to be able to also, give public comment virtually. But I think all your meetings will get noticed that way with this alternative for, this virtual aspect.
Okay. And it sounds like you're right. We had a little pre-question to you. Commissioner Myricks may exercise this for our next meeting because he's going to be out of town if this does end on July 1st.
I was considering tabling this till after Commissioner Myrick's vacation, but at this time, I'd like to move for the approval of Resolution 06-2021.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. That's for the approval of resolution 06-2021. We have a roll call, please.
Tomich,
Yes.
Soto Presley, Casperky,
Yes,
Myrick's,
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent. Okay, number 7 is approval of resolution 07-2021. A resolution of Hammond Redevelopment Commission pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of certain economic development revenue bonds of the city of Hammond. 415 Sibley-3 Corners Project and Bank Calumet of Northwest Indiana Project.
Mr. President. So you'll recall, and members of the commission will recall that staff and the city's been working real hard on 2, well, more than 2, but for the purposes of this resolution, 2 projects. One is the 3 Corners development on Sibley, which you've approved a development agreement already that allows for an incentive of not more than $3 million, which would be paid out of tax increment financing. This resolution also encompasses the Bank Calumet building, which is a separate project, which you haven't seen a development agreement on yet, but you will shortly. That calls for a $6.65 million incentive to be paid through through TIP revenues as well. So this resolution, and the theory was we're going to issue 1 bond in a couple of series because it saves issuance costs. But what this resolution says is that exactly what the title says is that you're going to pledge a tax increment from the downtown area to pay back these bonds for those incentives. And Carl, if I missed anything.
And I believe we also have a subordinate pledge from the central allocation area as well. In order to make the bonds marketable, we needed to have a backup pledge, and that's going to come from central.
I know we all have the same purpose in mind in developing Hammond corner to corner, but does it sound like we're paying somebody else's bills?
No, I mean, well, first off, on the Sibley one, you've already approved the development agreement, so this is part of your obligation there. On the Bank Calumet one, you're saying I'll go up to 6.65 million in an incentive once I see what the overall investment is going to be, you know, and that'll all be spelled out in the development agreement, which you'll have the opportunity to approve it that once it's presented. But no, because, you know, the Sibley is like a $12 million project. And I don't remember, Carl, how big the Bank Calumet one is in total, but
24 million.
24 million. So in order to get investment in the housing and the downtown plan that Mr. Speck has authored and the plan that we're trying to execute, you're going to need to give an incentive.
Yeah, Commissioner, I just wanted to chime in on that. As Attorney Westland has stated, these are the first 2 residential units or residential developments that will take place in downtown. And even from the spec presentation, and as well as what we've learned in previous developments, is sort of the first fish in does get the incentive because they take on the most risk because they're the first ones. It'll be a lot easier once we've established residential in that area. So you'll draw additional residential, but the first fish in that water, it'll be a little bit more challenging for them. So they require a little bit of assistance. Now, what I will say is the city has been working closely with both of these developers as well as another developer in downtown Hammond at another site. And one of these projects, they both are moving along very well, but with the Northwest Indiana project, they just received funding from the state to the tune of almost like $5 million. So they are, and remember that both of these developers are also providing their own personal equity in these projects. So I could understand the concern a little bit more if there wasn't any personal equity involved, but we are pairing it, they're pairing it with other sources as well as their own personal equity.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well said, Mr. Tarver. Always that first person to take a plunge to do anything is, they have the highest risk.
Since I was the one with the questions, but if there's no further questions, I move for the approval of resolution 07-2021.
Second.
Okay, very good. We have a motion and a second. That's for the approval of resolution 07-2021. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley, Casperky,
Yes,
Myricks,
Yes.
Poppridge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes with 1 absent. Okay, moving along, number 8, approval of resolution 09-2021, a resolution of Hammond Redevelopment Commission as its determination of captured assessment of potential captured assessed valuation for January 1st, 2021 assessment date as it relates to designated allocation areas within the Hammond Redevelopment District.
Members of the commission, I apologize for this. This was previously approved through this body as resolution 05-2021. So this resolution was previously approved.
We need no action on it.
No action is required because it was already approved through resolution 05-2021. So I apologize for the error.
That's quite all right. Thank you then, Ms. Carver, for the catching that, but still going over it.
Welcome.
All right, then number 9 is our reports. Ms. Africa Tarver, would you like to share anything tonight?
I have a few things. You've already approved one of the resolutions that is going to be something that I talk about. Last night at the council meeting, the council introduced the ordinances for economic development revenue bonds for the 2 initial residential developments in downtown Hammond, the $17 million investment at 415 Sibley, also known as Madison Lofts, which will be a 5-story building with residential on the 2nd through the 5th floor and 8,700 square feet of retail and amenities on the 1st floor, and with a total of 54 units. And the Northwest Indiana project, which is formerly known as the Bank Calumet, which is a $24 million investment, mixed-use development with approximately 100 market rate apartments with $7,000 on ground floor commercial space and related facilities. So there's a lot of things going on in the downtown area. We're really excited. Also, UniFirst, the ribbon cutting, staff is working with the company for a late summer ribbon cutting. I don't know if many of you have drove down Calumet Avenue or going north on Calumet Avenue. They have relocated to another location, and it's really a very nice building. So that's a good opportunity if we have a solid Hammond business that was able to expand within the city of Hammond. Also this Saturday at the Dr. Martin Luther King Junior Park, from 10 to 2, the city of Hammond will be celebrating this Juneteenth celebration. So if you're available, please come out and enjoy. I believe vendors are going to be there. There are going to be some graduates that are going to be recognized, as well as food trucks. So it'll be a good time. It's sort of the first real opening after COVID. So this will be a really good time, as well as a good commemoration of the Juneteenth holiday. Also, Live in the Bill is going to be held next week, June 25th and 26th on Kennedy Avenue. So that's all that that I have at this time. But as you can see, there's some exciting things taking place within the city of Hammond.
Summer is here. Thank you.
Summer is here.
Does anybody else have anything to report on? All right, then. Number 10 is our bills, register of claims.
I'm sorry, you couldn't hear me. Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the register of claims for April 27th, 2021 through June 9th, 2021 for redevelopment commission meeting of June 15th, 2021, beginning with claims dated 4/27/2021 and ending with claims dated 6/9/2021, claims number R9846 through R60062 inclusive.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion then and a second for our register of claims dating April 27th, 2021 through June 9th, 2021. That's claim R59846 through claim R60062. Is there any questions or discussion for staff on these claims? Okay, roll call, please.
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley, Casperky,
Yes,
Myricks,
Yes.
Hawkridge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes. Okay, number 11 is new and unfinished business. Looks like we might have 3 items.
Yes, President Hopperidge, members of the commission I have 3 items to present tonight for new and unfinished business. The first item is to request authorization to advertise for phase 2 of the Lost Marsh Estates residential home project. As you can remember, this project, the phase 1 was very successful. We had some paired unit homes, and the city, in partnership with the marina, as well as the Redevelopment Commission, has worked together to acquire and demolish some additional lots. There'll be a total of, I believe, 3 lots. And the request for proposals are for construction builder for, I believe, 1 paired and 1 single family home for a total of 3 homes on the 3 lots located at 2642 New York Avenue. So this is just furthering the residential development that was previously done in Lost Marsh Estates.
I think we've been here before. If there's no questions, I move for the approval of request for proposal for the Lost March Residential Homes Project, Lost March Estates Phase 2, Hammond, Indiana.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call then, please.
Talmadge,
Yes.
Soto Presley, Casperky,
Yes,
Myricks,
Yes.
Hawkridge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you. Members of the commission, the second item I have for consideration tonight is an environmental services proposal for the property located at 628 Hoffman Avenue. As many of you are aware, I don't know if you're aware, but this was formerly the Queen Anne Candy Company. The Redevelopment Commission has owned this property for some years now. We've had some people that were interested, and the interest sort of went up, it went down, and went up and went down. Well, now we have a very promising developer that is extremely interested in developing this site. However, we know that there are some environmental challenges on this site. So at this time, we would like to engage Americo Inc. for environmental services proposal that is outlined in your packet. There's some environmental services for VRP application assistance and the RWP preparation. I also have John Blasky on the call from Americo Inc. to further discuss what this proposal will consist of for your consideration.
Sure. We'll turn it over to Mr. Blasky, if you can just give a quick little overview.
Good evening, commissioners. How are you all doing?
Okay.
And David, it's good to see you all. I thought we were going to be in person.
We're almost there.
Nobody wants to look at me, I didn't realize. So what we have here is there's some mercury and some other metals in the ground, and we're going to prepare a remediation work plan, and we're going to work with their architect and designer who already sent me over the plan. And most of the contamination, or a good portion of it, is underneath the area where their parking lot will go. So I think this is going to be a really beneficial project to the city of Hammond, that you don't have a lot of waste to haul off site. It looks like it's going to be really good, but we'll enter it into the voluntary remediation program and prepare a work plan, and then but I'm thinking it would probably take about 90 days before they could probably start construction, which is probably in line with them. I think they mentioned September, and I think the timeline falls just right for that.
Is it just me, or did I not see a number on here, the cost?
There's a number.
It's on page 2 of 2 under compensation for $23,128.
Right at the top, Wally.
Oh, I got it. Sorry, I wasn't, I was trying to use technology efficiently and I failed. So I got it. Okay.
That's okay.
If it's under the parking lot again, can't we just cement over it? No.
No, no.
Well, actually, that's kind of part of it. You need to work with the state, and where the building will go, we'll have to dig that out. But yeah, it's either green. The goal is green space or parking lot so that it's capped. Fortunately, the city has city water and city sewer, so they don't need groundwater to drink, but there is some groundwater contamination, but it all kind of goes in the same program. But you're right. The more we can.
No, that's certainly not my area of knowledge. But Ms. Tarver, didn't we have that, didn't we approve that to be sold not all that long ago to a Calumet City company?
We did. Well, there was an agreement, and that was one that they had a lot of extensions, and they had several proposals, or a few, and they just couldn't move forward. And we gave them several extensions. Unfortunately, they weren't able to move forward. So at that point in time, we ended the agreement that we had with them so that we can make the property marketable for someone that would be able to move forward. And we have met with a company that has been interested in locating with the city of Hammond for quite some time. They've looked at several sites, and this site seems to work with them. They're also interested in the adjacent property, so they're speaking with the adjacent property owner for some property acquisition and some property that's owned by the sanitary district as well. So this property, this developer, I believe, is a little more prepared, or they seem to be better equipped to move forward with what they're doing because they have an existing business now. Whereas previously the other developer was going to do a spec building. But this one, as I stated, we've been working with the business owner for quite some time at some other sites, and they were just looking for the perfect site. So this seems to be it. And actually, we are working with them at this point in time with a development agreement that will come before this commission at a later date for your consideration. But this one appears to be moving forward at a quicker pace.
Well, since it sounds like the expert doesn't like my idea of cementing over it, if there's no further questions, I move for the approval of environmental services proposal number P as in Paul 21-2435.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call on that, please.
Homage,
yes,
Soto Presley, Casperkey,
Yes,
Myricks,
Yes.
Poppers.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Yep, thank you, Mr. Blasky.
Thank you. So also members of the commission, the last item I have sort of piggybacks off of this one. It's for the 628 Hoffman site. So because we know that there were some environmental issues there and they were not environmental issues that we believe we caused, I know that we previously worked with Envioforensics before to do an archaeological services find to an archaeological insurance archaeology express, so that what they will do is look at the previous property owners, look at their insurance policies and see if we're able to recoup some of the compensation that we will be using to clean up that site. They have an express service that does the preliminary search for $2,000. So at this time, that is what is before this commission for approval, is the express proposal for $2,000 to just sort of dive in and see what those previous insurance policies look like, and if there's a way that we can go a step further and recoup some of the compensation that we will use to clean the site up.
do they offer any sort of a history as how often it works?
They've had some success stories. I can get that information for you. They have had some success stories where they were able to use some of the policies they were able to sort of use some of the policies to offset some of the costs that were used for environmental remediation. So they do have a proven record of success. So that's why we wanted to work. We wanted to work with Americal as well as Envioforensics. So we will be working with, as you know, this commission previously approved both of those consultants for environmental services. And we wanted to make sure that we used both of them on this site.
We've approved this policy fund before?
You've approved Envioforensics as an environmental consultant.
Yeah, they also, according to this, they have a 85% successful rate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Africa's right, Commissioner. Because Ricky, Enviro, that company we have used in the past.
Yeah, this commission has approved 3 environmental companies so that you can have, so basically you have 3 environmental consultants that you can do business with. So you're not doing it with just one person or just one company.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this would be our effort to sort of offset some of those costs. So because we know we didn't cause the contamination that is on the site, this is our effort to recoup some of those funds so it can help with the remediation of that site. So we just don't have a dead site at that location.
I mean, just in layman's terms, I understand that we have to do it, but how could we even possibly get money from Queen Anne, which hasn't been there for 20 years?
Well, what they'll do is they'll do a search as far as where the contamination came from, and it wasn't Queen Anne. There was another property owner that was there. And so they will look and see because it may have been, depending on what's in the soil, it may not have been able to, that may not have even been something that Queen Anne used. So what they'll do is and John Blaski is raising his hand because he's better versed in this than I am. So I'll turn it over to him at this time.
Yeah, so how we do that with insurance mining on our projects, and I'm sure it's the same with enviroforensics. Prior to 1990, the general liability policies, they didn't have pollution liability and all these other policies. So I'm not 100% sure how, if my wording's correct, but the insurance companies lobbied the state legislatures around the early 1990s, and they passed a rule that said, how did this happen? Prior to 1990s, they didn't have it, and it fell under general liability, and so they have to cover the cleanup costs, and that's how that works. After 1990s, the insurance companies had separate policies for pollution liability and things like that. And then they did lose a court case somewhere along the line, and the court, how do you say, David? They found in favor of the property owner, saying that the general liability insurance covers the cleanup. So that's basically any property prior to 1990. You can find the historical records of any insurance company that they used, and often there's several. We have a site in Michigan City. We have about 7 or 8 different insurance carriers that are covering the cost of that cleanup, and for our client at no cost. So that's how it's all the general liability policy prior to 1990. So, did that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Like I say, I was.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the goal.
So I'm trying to think how to word it. How do you want me to? No.
I would just, unless Attorney Westland says something different, I would probably say approval of the Insurance Archaeological Express for $2,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further questions or discussion? Okay, roll call then.
Homage,
yes,
Total Presley, Casperky,
Yes.
Myricks,
Yes.
Hopbridge.
Yes, motion passes. 4 yes with 1 absent. I think that should
Thank you.
conclude unfinished business then, right?
Yes, that is correct. That will conclude new and unfinished business for tonight.
All righty, thank you. Number 12 is public comment. Public comment is open now. If anybody's out there, you can tune in and speak. Okay, public comment is closed. Before we adjourn, I'd just like to say on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission, we give our condolences and prayers to Commissioner Miriam Soto Presley. I'm not sure who passed away in her family, but there was a death in her family, so our prayers go out to her. Number 13 then.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Can you all signify by aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
thank you, good night.
Commissioners.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.